Remove this gentleman from the chamber. Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you.
So a lot of reaction from President Trump's joint session of Congress speech. In this video, I'm going to focus more on what people are saying in the way that the Democrats behaved in the chamber. As always, please support the channel by subscribing and hitting that like button. Let's first look at some polling.
To the results, what was your reaction to Trump's speech? 44% of speech watchers in our instant poll tonight say they had a very positive reaction to Trump's speech. 25% somewhat positive, 31% negative.
Just this morning shows that 76% of the people that we questioned approve of Trump's message. It should be noted here that the viewership of these speeches is higher among the president's party.
So 76% approve and just 23% disapprove. This is like an overwhelming rejection to the Democratic Party and their response to what President Trump had to say. The Democrat Party and the media spend so much time criticizing everything that Trump does, and it's fueled with so much hatred that's embedded within them that they're not recognizing exactly why Trump voters like him so much. President Trump does a fantastic job of highlighting the emotional issues that Americans can relate to. And Democrats spend so much time talking about things that most people don't care about and can't relate to. And Americans are not going to relate to the behavior of the Democrats when Congressman Al Green interrupted the president and ended up being removed from the chamber.
Optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber. Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you.
That was the start of the downfall for the Democrats, at least the ones that were there. They seemed to be very much undisciplined. The president made a great speech, and they didn't stand and refuse to clap for anything. They caught up with Congressman Green outside. This is what he said.
The president said he had a mandate. And I was making it clear to the president that he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. I have people who are very fearful. These are poor people, and they have only Medicaid in their lives when it comes to their health care. And I want him to know that his budget calls for deep cuts in Medicaid. He needs to save Medicaid, protect it. We need to raise the cap on Social Security. There's a possibility that it's going to be hurt. And we've got to protect Medicare. These are the safety net programs that people in my congressional district depend on. And this president seems to care less about them and more about the number of people that he can remove from the various programs that have been so helpful to so many people.
I'm sure anyone would agree, including Democrats, that it probably wasn't a great strategy to interrupt the president, nor is it with these articles of impeachment that he's been promising. And the problem with Democrats, I think their time would be better spent passing pieces of legislation that would protect Medicaid, if that's what he believes in, if it's in danger of being cut. Now, as a result of this, Congress took action to censure Congressman Al Green. This is Speaker Mike Johnson just before the vote took place.
We take no pleasure in this. I gave repeated warnings to Representative Green to stand down and to sit down, and he refused to do it. He chose to deliberately violate House rules in a manner that we think is probably unprecedented in history, interrupting the message of a president of the United States who is an honored guest. I think this expeditious vote of censure is an appropriate remedy. Many of our colleagues have argued it should go even further, but I hope that he will acknowledge his mistake. And I encourage all the Democrats to join us in this vote. If they have any hope of, restoring the people's trust, they all say they care about this institution. I think they ought to join us in this. I think this is appropriate. I hope it goes smoothly this morning. And as the Speaker of the House, I take no pleasure in making history like this. I want us to have proper decorum. I want us to maintain really the great tradition of this institution, and these things do damage to it, and I'm sorry that it happened.
Can I ask you, do you think you'll need...
Members of Congress voted overwhelmingly to censor Congressman Al Green, including 10 Democrats. But of course, not everyone was happy with this decision. And of course, nothing will stop the Democrats from bursting out into song, ironically further disrupting the decorum of the House.
On this vote, the yeas are 224, the nays are 198, with 2 answering present. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. Shh. Will Representative Green present himself to the well? By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. The House had come to order. The House had come to order. What's it?
Here's a little bit of the Democratic response to President Trump's speech. And again, as you'll see, nobody on the left has gotten the memo because she's spewing out the same old talking points.
President Trump is trying to deliver an unprecedented giveaway to his billionaire friends. He's on the hunt to find trillions of dollars to pass along to the wealthiest in America. And to do that, he's going to make you pay in every part of your life. Grocery and home prices are going up, not down, and he hasn't laid out a credible plan to deal with either of those. His tariffs on allies like Canada will raise prices on energy, lumber, and cars, and start a trade war that will hurt manufacturing and farmers. Your premiums and prescriptions will cost more because the math on his proposals doesn't work without going after your health care. Meanwhile, for those keeping score, the national debt is going up, not down. And if he's not careful, he could walk us right into a recession. And one more thing. In order to pay for his plan, he could very well come after your retirement, the Social Security, Medicare, and VA benefits you worked your whole life to earn. The president claims he won't, but Elon Musk just called Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. While we're on the subject of Elon Musk, is there anyone in America who is comfortable with him and his gang of 20-year-olds using their own computer servers to poke through your tax returns, your health information, and your bank accounts?
Like I said, it's the same old talking points. And also, same could be said about her and her colleagues failing to do anything about the border or the deficit. Everything she's saying about Elon Musk has been debunked so many times. Just trying to scare people where she's saying, oh, they've got access to your personal data. If you're an employee that works for these departments, you're going to have access to personal data. My question is, what solutions do you have for protecting Americans from other corporations stealing our personal data? This is what Scott Jennings has to say about her response.
This was a horrific night for the opposition party, regardless of how well she just spoke. It started out with Al Green getting thrown off the House floor because he couldn't keep his emotions under control. Then they had the ridiculous paddles, which now social media is roasting.
That you said false on one side and
ridiculous.
Elon on
and
the
then
other.
finally, and maybe most terribly, the Democrats who couldn't find it in their heart to stand for objectively good things, including the 95-year-old mother of Mark Fogel and Mark, who got rescued from a Russian prison, and they couldn't even stand up for that. I thought Democrats came into this speech lost and defeated by Donald Trump, and today it looks to me like they're even more lost and even more defeated than when this speech.
They are lost and defeated. They have no leader right now. I don't know where they are. I mean, the bottom line is they hate Trump so much they couldn't even stand and applaud for moments like this.
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago. Since that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer, actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
You might not like the president, and you might not like his policies if you're on the other side of the aisle. But this is a human moment. It's got nothing to do with politics. This is just about everyday Americans, and even then you can't stand up and applaud for that. And it's not just the Democrats, it's the media too. This is what Rachel Maddow had to say about that moment.
For the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who's thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising DOJ. The DOJ cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer.
So she clearly didn't hear the speech, but they have to disagree with him because they hate him. At the moment, it's people like this that are speaking for the Democrat Party. And our counterpart, Nicole Wallace, is exactly the same.
This was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
Shame on her for saying that. I mean, both her and Rachel Maddow. Her comments caused such an outrage. I'm not sure if that's something she regrets saying, but it seems there's just so much pure hatred of Donald Trump and such strong ideologies. It's just removed all humanity from them. They can't even acknowledge an emotional moment of this young boy that has overcome brain cancer, receiving an honorary Secret Service badge. The White House is calling for their resignation. It's really not a good look for MSNBC or the Democrats. Now, Scott Bessent had this to say to sum up the whole night.
The cabinet's great. The president's amazing. Every day is...
He's a force of nature, isn't he?
Oh, my God. And he's
metaphysical force.
He's on a roll, and that speech tonight was incredible. And I think that...
I've known him 30 years. I think it's the best speech he ever gave.
I think it was fantastic. And the Democrats are flailing because you can't just be the resistance. You got to be for something. And they haven't coalesced. They have no idea what they're for. They're just against Donald Trump. And he continues winning, and they're just off balance, and he's in there every day for the American people.
Well, congratulations on your new position.
Good.
We're looking forward. We got to turn this economy around as quickly as we can, get interest rates down, inflation down. I know you'll be a big part of that.
We do it every day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
All right. When we come back.
He's exactly right. The Democrats aren't for anything right now. There's no leader. I'm not sure whose idea it was to bring those paddles with the signs on it. Maybe all it shows is that they just don't care about the American people. They don't care about their constituents. If you're the opposing party that is not the one in power, wouldn't you think you'd be bringing new and better ideas to the table that would compete with what the president is doing? But they don't have a message, and nobody likes the product that they're selling. I think what they're most angry about is the fact that the president is exposing the enormous amount of corruption that's been going on for many years. And he's putting a stop to their money supply. Their money and their power is being taken away from them. Perhaps that's what they're most afraid of. One of the announcements that President Trump made during his speech is a message that he got from President Zelensky, stating that he's now ready to come back to the negotiating table and start peace talks. If you missed that video in the aftermath of the debacle in the Oval Office, you can watch it because it's coming up right